Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday. If I haven't had the chance to talk to you in person, my name is Kerry. I'm the Market Center Tech Trainer here at Keller Williams Honolulu. Today, we're going to cover commissions. So kind of a sister process to what we did last week or the week before in compliance. They work together, though it is separate. We'll kind of take a look at it, ask plenty of questions if you have it. Like it says in bold, real estate, I would use the words commissions in simple, but it's maybe not easy, right? So don't hesitate to ask questions, unmute yourself, jump in, and let's go. Let's see. Commissions is something, and opportunities is something where we've got, how's that? You guys got my command dashboard there? Yeah, awesome. Okay, so it's something that if you guys are working with like compliance, you guys might be having an admin do it for you. You guys might be having a TC do it for you. You guys might be doing it yourself. High driving agents and multiple transactions, hey, get some leverage for yourself, right? But even if you're having somebody do it for you, it's great to know the process, right? And know what's going on. So sister process to compliance and commissions, it's all in opportunities, right? And how much you're getting paid and to make sure you're getting paid, right? So just really quickly and really briefly while we look at this, right, we're in the opportunity applet here. Now, as an agent, you might be on a team, in which case your sales pipeline, you want to make sure you see this blue underline under the team. If you're an individual agent, you're just going to see your name. There's no issues there, right? So we are going to open up and you have your listings and your buying pipeline there. We are just going to go ahead and select an opportunity, little test one here. So we've got some dates, right? We do want to make sure for commissions and compliance that we have a property address in here. So we're just going to pop a Sky 123 Main Street. And you can kind of see how it like wants to populate from Google, right? Click it. Now, oh, there's a unit number. You can always go back in and put a unit number in there. Okay, and it's going to pre-populate, hit save. And where commissions lives is to the right of documents. So if we click on the documents and in your process, you have the data all up front. So your commissions is built from, right, if it's a listing, your listing agreement and the agreement, how much you're going to pay for the co-op, verified in your escrow instructions, what that number is. So there's all these pieces that come together to get you that, whatever that commission looks like, right? If you note, and you have gotten any emails from our MCAs, you'll note on the bottom of their emails, it said, hey, there's a little reminder, commissions are due, or please submit your commissions 2 weeks prior to closing, right? What's happening? Anybody out there, what's happening 2 weeks prior to closing generally in just the process? What else is going on? Anybody? Don't be shy. Okay. As you follow through your process, going through your contingencies, you got your J1 home inspection, you got condo docs coming in. Generally speaking, 10 to 14 days prior to closing, you're looking at your termite, your L2 and your termite. And based on what we were saying last week on compliance, that last 14-day period, like everything is really, it's just a kind of a slide down. You're waiting to get the final loan numbers or a final approval, right, for your loan. And it's really just like a waiting 2-week period. Use that period to submit your compliance, submit your commission, right? And then you'll notice that the DA is the last thing here. And that's what's generated when we do our commission in the right way. So we're going to note here, we're talking about commissions, that there's a 0. We haven't done anything yet. So you're going to click on this offers and commissions tab. And of course, right, we're on the buy side here. let me move our faces there a little bit. Okay. So you would click on add a new offer. And what we're going to talk about today is really just required to get paid, right? We may not be using at a level of all the things it could do, but really you'll notice as initial offer, because on, let's say if this was a listing, you can have multiple offers and it's going to track a counter and negotiations. What was the original offer price? Hey, we did a price reduction here, and so it does a lot more than maybe what we need for this example, but we're just going to stick to what's required. So initial offer, you would update your dates here. And so you can either pull the property and it'll pre-populate from Google, or you can select it from the KWLS. And when this thing opens, see, is there a 123 Main Street listed in Honolulu, Hawaii? You'll see that it doesn't populate because default it says only my listings. Right, if you guys can see that, okay. And then, so you're gonna select all listings. And there's 123 Main Streets all over the country, maybe not Honolulu, Hawaii. But this is where you can find the right listing, find the right unit number of the one that you have the offer on, and you can select that, and it's gonna then pre-populate some of the data, okay? So in this case, we'll just let Google pick us here. And we're gonna go to parties next. And so again, if you use the KWLS, this would have populated the other person's name, right? We really just need to fill in something. So just wanting to get paid, we're just gonna say seller. We have our information here, and this is on the co-op side, right? Associate's name, I'm just gonna put co-op agent. And then hit terms. Now in the terms here, again, what's required is this first line of cash, finance, and sales price. So in this case, hey, we're coming up with $80,000 cash. Put some zeros in there. Get this one nice round number of 11, right? And so once you have that in, again, that's all we need for to generate a commission. Where this other earnest money and things come into play is on this next page, right? So agent analysis, if you're on the listing side, you can just say, hey, maybe not in this example, but you could say different things. What's the pro? Short close, cash and financing, where another offer might be all cash, right, which would be a pro. And then so that way, the more data you fill in on the listing side, you can have multiple offers. And what the system is going to do based upon what you put in is you can get a comparative list that you can send to your client. And it'll give them like a net proceeds based upon the numbers that you put in, right? But again, lots of us are really just, hey, this is the one that we're in escrow with. We just want the offer that we've accepted. And so you're really going to just have one until this really kind of blows out technology-wise. And so you can see we've got what we put in. You can always double check, right? Buyer pre-approval, buyer pre-qualify, and it's just kind of a blanket offer. Clicking on the meatball, so you can say add negotiation, and what was that counter price that came in? Add analysis, and then so what we're going to do is we're going to click accept. Once you click accept, you'll see that now we've got a number one, and now this manage commission button opens up. So we're going to click here, and it gives you a good layout. You got kind of three places that you're going to look in here once you're in the commission tabs. One is this general information tab. You're going to make sure that the contract date, this is pulling from both the general details page, but a lot of it, sometimes you have it in this page right here. It's pulling on the contract date, estimated close date, and what's your commissions, right? So that'll be a placeholder. Something changes in price or whatnot, you can make sure you can edit your general information here. Okay, so you can always change that. You'll see the total sales price, commission rate, 1 full unit, contract date, and close date. To the right of that, you're going to just see a breakdown of what's as a summary and transaction summary. And so as you change things on the left, you should see it all total and refresh on the right-hand side. Okay, and we'll get back to that a little later. Down here is on your payment options, and there are some things in here that you can do, and you can see, hey, if you're constantly giving to or have a reoccurring payment to KW Cares or Kids Can, you can save and have that as a reoccurring option for you. I'm just going to close that. So far, so good. I haven't lost anybody, right? Okay. So payment options, again, 1 unit, you'll see the gross commission off of that 2.5. Now it's going to start to calculate some of your company dollar, your cap, your royalties, and then has your net payment here. So this is where you can make some changes. If you are working with somebody else that has a showing, or if you are working with a team, you can always add somebody from the market center here. You know what, Javid, you got your camera on, my friend. I am going to share this list. I'm going to share this commission with you. So we're going to go halvesies on that. So once you split the, again, it's more about getting the split for the commission, not necessarily, but you know what, this was my, my production number. I'm not sharing the unit, even though I'm splitting it here, but this is just about the splits as far as who's getting paid what, right? And we'll get some more clarity on the production number, right? And clarity on that as well. But in this case, I'm going halvesies with Javid, 0.5. I went to public school and math is not my strongest subject. I'm going to hit calculate commission and it's going to do it for me, right? So I hit calculate commission. That's going to be his share. Now in here, and again, and so this is Javid. I'm not going to assign him any donations or things. I'm just going to leave that there. But you know what? Hey, we talked about splitting our transaction management fee, right? And even for yourself, you would, if you had any deductions, you would add item. And this is where you would see bonus, concession, deduction, and referrals. So in this case, like transaction management fee, we're going to hit deduction. We're going to place in the amount. So we would kind of do, let's go 250. There would be some tax on that, right? Generally, it's $500 plus tax. And we're only focusing on what's required. So you can see it's a deduction. There's no tax information needed. We're going to give a description, TC fee, pay to core, which is our in-house TC. And we would then add the office address, which is our market center number here. I always blow this number. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's 5962888 is our office number here. And hit add. So you see that there's a TC, your deduction then will populate in here right in the middle, right? And then we're going to hit save. So on this end, you can see I've got myself, I've got Javid, and now his breakdown of his split, his share of the TC fee. And you know what? I've got to mirror that on my end. I'm going to do deduction, 250, TC fee. What are other, if you guys are new agents, what's another deduction you want to be aware of? Type it in the chat. Unmute yourself there. What is something else that you guys are, who else are you working with in regards to your production? You might be working with your productivity coach. Team leader is good too. So you can, as far as deductions and productivity coaching, you could do that here. You would do deduction, productivity coach, for us, that would be Lisa Crosby Torres. And what your split was with her, you would then put in that amount here, right? And whatever that would be. Address could be the market center here. And again, 5962888. Each of you at the office, there's also a separate cost that's called risk management, and that's on every transaction. That's $150, right? That would be a deduction that you would add as well. And you know what, if you're doing yourself and you forgot that, like the market center would remind you and they would add that, okay? And so right now you see everything that we've done over here, company dollar and royalty. We're going halvesies on this transaction, and then the other deductions for the TC and the coach, right? So again, this $1,000 is because, you know, on with the 250 for me, 250 on Javiz, and then the 500 for coaching. So it all tallies up here, and you get your breakdown. So far, so good. Cool. If you are on a team, all that happens is that you might see that yes, the team leader, there would be maybe a listing specialist that's helping and some other stuff. So all that would be Chris Lowe. What is that breakdown? And then you're just building layers in the system, right? How many agents are splitting this thing? What is their breakdown in their pay? And then you're just adjusting and then saving changes. And then now we've had our team breakdown growing. Cool? Awesome. Last thing we would do here prior to submittal end, before I move to that last thing, just kind of going back into this thing here for you, like if you wanted to know where you were in regards to your cap and fees, you can absolutely email the MCA, email Christy, email Hope Hayes, who was our assistant MCA, and they can get you some numbers. And the more that you use Command, it's going to start syncing with Winmore, right? Our backend system. And this is you're going to see this wheel fill and see it in relation to your cap. You'll know when you hit it. And then of course you have your regular company dollar and you have your royalty, right? And so that way, if you've already capped, but yet the system is lagging here in Command, you might see and get good news like, hey, Javid, we got a refund check on your royalty commissions because you capped on your royalties, right? And they'll cut that check back to you. Okay, but you'll see this start tracking with your production. If you notice that maybe you are on what we would refer to at Keller Williams Honolulu, you know, the loyalty cap, right? If you're signed on and you have a different cap, and over a 5-year period, it starts to kind of lower and lower until it gets to a certain amount. Like if you see it not reflective yet, that's okay, right? This is just a placeholder that the market center uses to finalize your distribution agreement, and they have your cap recorded, they have where you're at. And so if this isn't exactly accurate while you're using it for the first 1 or 2 times, like it's okay, it'll sync as you do more transactions, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, raise your hand and put an emoji in the screen if you guys have already fallen asleep out there. All right. We are almost at the end of the road. Yes.
I haven't fallen asleep, but I have a question for you.
Sure.
I've got my closing coming up on the 1st for my escrow.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just was in Command looking at this particular thing, the commission's statement for Command for my escrow yesterday. And we had an extension on mine, and it does not reflect that. It still shows closed on the 24th. And I guess maybe was I supposed to go in and do that edit? Because obviously this is my first escrow with
Sure.
KW.
Yeah.
And I did not know to go in and do that. So is there a way that I can go in now and edit post the date that it says it was supposed to be closed?
And the great thing with using or the in-house TC and stuff is and that's a great question. Like you don't have to worry about it. So the good part for you, Kimberly, is that like that was the expected closing date. Maybe it was a little earlier, right? And then it pushed out to the first. You're okay.
Okay, I just want to double check and make sure that's not going to mess anything up.
No,
Thank you.
not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
So a big thing for you guys to note too, when it comes to closings and distribution agreements, the only thing you're worried about in an extension is if it's going to extend past your renewal period, your anniversary date, because your cap refreshes. Right? So then let's say your anniversary date was February 1st, and we're extending into February. Our in-house TC or you as an agent, if you're doing it yourself, you got to be mindful of that. Like, hey, I'm extending past my anniversary date because that's when the DA has to be in that new month. Otherwise, we're okay. Extend as much as you have to, and don't worry. Great question. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. And James, I saw his thumbs up. He says, yeah, I'm asleep. And he gave this a thumbs up emoji. Okay, so we have all the numerical data, right? What we want here in the add notes section is we're going to put the escrow number and whatever that number looked like, right? And whether or not you space, a lot of people space down and write their information this way. This note box doesn't adhere to any formatting. So even if you hit enter and you're going to go down and do escrow officer, escrow company, and we want actually and contact info. So even if you enter like that, what you really want to do is maybe then after each one give a little bit of a couple of dashes so that it separates. But escrow number, escrow officer and contact info, escrow company. After that, we're going to say, was there no GET? Or yes, GET, right? After that, whichever one that was. Last thing is special instructions. Anything out of the ordinary, what you might see in case, just to really being clear is being kind, if you are working with our in-house TC, you would see court fee, $500 plus tax on a Wahoo is $523.56. You're in coaching and right, like I might not remember how to make that deduction, but hey, you know what? I'm in coaching. Then the market center can make sure that they get the right numbers when they generate your DA, right? And who your coach is. Last kind of special instructions for me, and especially with this example, is just like, you know what, Javid and I are going halvesies. I told him if he ran around town with my buyer to show them property and we got under contract with that one, that I'd go halvesies, I'd pay him 50% because I just don't have the time to do it, right? Leverage. Lots of new agents, lots of KWYP, like, hey, if you just don't have time, there are agents here that would be happy to help. I told Javid I'm going to go halvesies with him, but hey, you know what? That's my production number. So I would just say production unit 2. And you might want to say full production unit 2. Scoville. And I'm going to hit save changes. So this is a pretty much a standard template, right? Again, so if something were to happen with your commission, with your DA, who are you working with? Again, that information is coming from your escrow instructions, but we just, again, want to be clear and kind and make sure it's right where it is, that when somebody's in commissions, they don't have to click out and look for your escrow instructions and track down all this information. You have it right here. So, and then you see, once you have your note, you'll see an edit and a remove, right? So these are live links. And so if you make a mistake or forget something, you can still go back in and edit. Now that this is being done, you can hit submit. Hope if you're listening, don't make this DA. So that alerts the market center, right? and you will notice a couple of red flags. It didn't let me submit. And why didn't it let me submit? Anybody thinking back to what I was doing and going halvesies with David? Oh, and we added Chris. So how much of a unit can we have? We can have one. I forgot to actually split my portion. Right? So you go and so you can see where the system won't let you do anything that's out of balance. You can't break anything. So, right, peace of mind and don't worry. So I'm going to have to go back in. Oh, shucks, I'm not balanced. That's right. I'm going to go halvesies. I'm going to hit calculate commission, and I'm going to hit save changes. I still can't submit. You know why? I was going to pay out Chris as well. But who's paying it out? Am I paying it out, or is Javid paying it out? You know what? I'll pay out. I told Javid I'd give him half. I'll give him half, and I'll take care of Chris myself. We'll recalculate. Now the transaction is in balance. Okay, so we'll hit submit. It's going to ask one more time, hey, would you like, myself personally, would I like to, I'm going to skip. I'm not going to make Javid, unless he wants to, he can set that up on his own, right? I'm going to skip, and I can skip Chris, or you can say skip all, it said on the left, right? No judgment. If you want to give, you can always give one time outside of this as well. But if you wanted to reoccurring payments inside of your transactions, you can set that up. So hit a final submit, and you'll see commission submitted successfully. Awesome, cool. So again, 2 weeks prior to close, we want to get this into the market center. It'll take them a day, to get it back out to you so that you can review the DA. You can make sure the numbers are accurate, and then submit it to escrow. Okay. There's a great class that Christy teaches. It's on our YouTube channel about reviewing the DA and knowing, and she goes line by line through it. So if you haven't seen it, you guys should definitely check it out, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel, Keller Williams Honolulu Official. So after that shameless plug of our YouTube channel, you can see right now, the button changes and it says request termination. And you know what? My edit button is locked. Right now, once you submit to the market center, everything locks. As far as the commission is concerned, if we went back to this property details tab, this property box is no longer editable. Right, so make sure this is one of the first things you should do. Make sure you have the right property, make sure you have the unit number. And then once you submit your commission, you'll see on your commissions tab, this has that nice little aqua blue. You want it to turn green, right? The market center has it at this point that generates your DA, and you'll see this turn to a green, and it'll say imported or approved, right? You commission, you can go back in. Now, for whatever reason, maybe it's an anniversary date and you're extending past it, or maybe there was some information, oh shucks, that was like 1.2 and I've got to change that. Email the market center, email Hope and Christy and say, hey, can you return my commission to me so I can make edits, right? And then that way, this will open up back to you again, go back in, make your edits, and then resubmit it. Cool. And you know what? That's it. Really. They get you a commission. They get you a distribution agreement. You'll see an email in like 24 hours and hey, please review this. And then this is where it syncs back into the compliance, because you'll post your DA in here. And we're still within 10 days of closing, right? Get your DA over, and the TC will do this for you. They get it over to your escrow officer. At that point, it's just like, hey, escrow, if you haven't had it already, hey, I want to get my buyer estimated statement, right? Now, this isn't final numbers. This is an estimated statement of escrow costs that escrow officers should be able to provide you at this point, right? they're going to tell you, oh, we don't have final numbers. I don't need final loan numbers. I need an estimated breakdown of your escrow costs. And you want to get that prior to closing. Once you have those two things, we're submitting it and following that the process of compliance to submit it and trigger it. I saw Kimberly with the thumbs up. Thanks so much for that. It makes sense. Not too bad. Sharika, yeah, you had a question?
Yeah, Carrie. You know the commission fee, the fund. Should we open up a separate account, or can we put it into our personal account?
Your commissions?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. People have different things. Know that if this is in regards to like, you cannot like be paid through, like if people like always, oh, well, this is my business, I want to open up like an LLC or something like that. You can't get a commission paid to it has to be paid to you. Now, when you get it, where you deposit it, where you like, I have a separate account, checking account for tax purposes, just so that I can, hey, here's my commission. I save 30% on the side just in case, and just when tax season comes around, right? I do that, and other people might have different banking things that they do in their banking that I'm sure in a conversation at the market center or financial education, that's a great, agents are always asking. That was a good question. And hopefully that was a good non-answer. But yeah, you get your commission check, and you know what? So your DA comes in, and again, through compliance, you submit for compliance, you get it reviewed. Maybe there's something missing. We're not closed yet, something missing. You go back to the co-op agent, say, hey, I need a signature here, please. They work with you because they're still trying to get paid too, right? Compliance is approved. You have everything you need, which includes your DA, and then compliance officer says, hey, you're approved for check release upon closing. Oahu people, the checks get sent to the market center the day of closing, right? And it's just like, we will be approved prior to closing. So as soon as the check hits the office, we're emailing you saying, hey, congratulations, right? Maui and Big Island and Kauai, I believe, just with the drives to the escrow office and whatnot, there's a system of like direct deposit, I believe. Does anybody else have it?
Carrie, it's actually direct deposit, or they give you the option to come and pick up your check.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, either or.
Awesome. Oh, it's good
And
to have
I like how you were doing the stay in your lane. You don't want to give any money advice on the checking account. That was cute.
I was in banking. I used to have, I saw this one realtor come into the bank every time. I'm like, oh no, because there were like a dozen different accounts, and I mean, right. But there's a purpose for each one, and what you do and how you do it. Yeah, that's definitely.
For the tax purpose, why is that by the end of the year, the agent will receive the 1099 form?
Yes, and those actually should be going out. If you guys have not received an email from the market center about your year-end tax information, definitely reach out. But that goes out, notification goes out in January every year. Yeah. And so for me, right, that's best practice is just like, hey, well, 30% for taxes. I want to make sure I have that aside just in case what is it that I need to pay? You get your check, you put it in your bank account, and you spend everything. Then when tax season comes around, you're just like, holy moly, I did great, and now I got to pay all these taxes.
Sorry, Carrie, so you need to reach out by January instead of they sending the form to the agent.
Say that one more time. You're breaking up a little bit.
So you're saying that by the end of the year, by January, you're saying that every agent need to reach out to get the tax form?
Oh, no. We the market center will send it out to each agent.
Okay.
And it usually so like we're only a couple of days away from the end of the month. At the end of the month, if you haven't gotten it, at that point, I would reach out.
So right now I haven't done any sell. You think I should?
Oh, being brand new and just signing on, you're absolutely okay.
So just wait till next year then.
Yeah, because you're gonna be busy this year. You're gonna rock it.
Hopefully.
Hey, so commissions is super easy. I know it's only been 30 minutes. You know what? There's one wrinkle maybe we didn't talk about. What do you do in a dual transaction? Right? You are helping the seller and the buyer. That being said, you know how we talked about the commission being tied to the commissions and the DAs, they're tied to production, right? This one unit. So right now, the best thing to do, so we're on the buy side. And let's say this was Aaron. We're just gonna go zoop because we're under contract, right? So we're gonna go one of these test listings. Do I have one that says 123 Main Street? I do not. So we're just gonna pick one. Okay. So let's say this is the other side. This is the listing side of that dual transaction. You're going to want to have another commission on the sell side because this is your selling unit. So best practice right now is to do a sell side commission, a buy side commission, and make sure you talk to your market center. Special instructions. Dual transaction. And then, whatever extra information buyer is Aaron, I believe. So now you're covered on both ends as far as the production unit. And then if the MCA then combines the DA, they can do that. Whether or not, maybe you might have a separate DA for each one and just make sure it says S and one says L. Right? So you don't want to make sure, you want to make sure you're covered as production, and at the same time, just really going back to the dual nature of the transaction, you have a seller and you have a buyer, and most of the times they're two different people. You want to have an opportunity built for both sides. Okay, and then when it comes to the documents are the same outside of that separate DA. So all the documents we suggest on a dual transactions, all the documents get set up inside of the listing opportunity because you'll have more, right? You have your listing contract, but all the documents, and so if you go under contract in this category, you will see that there's a DA, seller estimate, and buyer estimated if we're representing both sides. Now, we should add a buyer DA just in case, but there's not one. So we're going to hit the meatballs on this side, add document. Buy side DA. Other, you would drop your file in here and then hit save, and then it would create, let's just drop one. Copy of the language pattern bootcamp. That's in a playlist on our YouTube channel. It's a great training class. But then now we have that additional buyer side DA. So we're covered, right? We got the list side DA, we got the sell side DA, we got both sides of our estimated, and then you would submit. Kind of a little confusing until you get the muscle memory of it. And then if you needed any help, especially in the case of like a dual representation and the compliance process, let us know. So then this transaction, you're going to have the commission, but you're not going to have any documents because this is on the buy side of a dual. All of our documents go on the other side, but you will have this commission filed on this end. We want to make sure that Aaron gets credit as a buyer that, hey, he did a transaction with us. Now, all the way back to Kimberly's question on the closing date, what you would do once this thing closes, and you have all these, I have all these practice transactions and other transactions in here that you would then grab this, move it to closed, and it's going to confirm with you what your actual closing date was, right? And then so you can change that if you needed to. Ooh, not too bad. James, give me one more thumbs up because you got it, right? Awesome, awesome. Anybody have any questions in regards to filing that commission process? I know we went through it maybe a little fast, especially if this is your first time looking at it, but we're gonna post this on our YouTube channel. Watch it, pause it, go back, pause it again. And if you need any additional help, right, again, we do have Chris, who is working behind me. We work with Core, our in-house transaction management. So a lot of it, right, it's like, let's you focus on learning the contract, working with your clients, and then having a little bit of leverage as far as organization, building a timeline, submitting your commissions, right? And then, so in this case, we would submit a commission. The email comes out from Hope Hayes, our assistant MCA. You're on it, we're on it. It says, hey, Agent Javid, please approve of this DA. We need to wait for you to say, okay, right? Once you say, hey, no, everything checks out, this is great, right? And then we can get it over to escrow, ask for your estimated, and then just continue the process. He's really great at what he does. If you do need help in the process or any questions in regards to, right, the videos are great. Don't wait for me. Watch the video. You can also go to answers.kw.com or Scott Leroy Marketing on YouTube as well. They have a great channel, lots of training. And if you're in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, you can't sleep and you want to learn about commissions or practice commissions, pop open YouTube. And then if you do need extra assistance or want to go through it, you can schedule a time with me. And my email is kwhtech946@gmail.com. We'll put it in the chat and make sure you guys have that. And again, hopefully that was helpful. It may be something like I strongly suggest, right? If you're new, continue to learn, continue to plug in, because then when you do come across having to do it, the concepts or where to click or somewhere kind of vaguely familiar to you, right? And where to get help. And then it's not just brand new. So I appreciate you guys' time. If there's not any more or any other questions in regards to Command, I would love to give you the gift of 15 minutes back in your Aloha Friday.
Carrie, I need to make an appointment with you to go through my command, which I've never done that yet. And how do I go about?
Absolutely. You can email me and, and if you already had, especially you guys that have just joined us from Kauai, that there's an email that went out in regards to zip forms and just setting up your systems. My emails always have, like, it says like schedule a one-on-one with me. And so there's a link to my Calendly. And if I'm available and not in the class, it'll show like what times are there and you just click on schedule yourself. But you can always email me directly and then we'll block a time out.
Thank you. Great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again so much, guys. And then we will see you. We'll see you next week.
Have a great Aloha Friday.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Take care, guys.